Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day?
Hello everyone, my name is Sean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is July 18th, 2025. And is Bitcoin still targeting 100K in the immediate short term? What about altcoins? What can we expect from altcoins? Will they continue to pump? And specifically, we're going to discuss Ethereum. Over the past 48 hours, I've gotten so many questions and messages about Ethereum. So I'm going to talk about Ethereum. That's one of the targets that I've shared publicly on the YouTube channel. So we're going to continue to talk about it, what I'm seeing there, how I'm seeing it play out, what I'm making of this recent price action. If all that sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it. As per usual, Bitcoin on the 4-hourly time frame. And it still seems as if we're getting that drop to 100K, as I said in the previous couple episodes, okay? Let's first start off. Actually, this isn't the 4-hourly time frame. This is the daily time frame. And just a quick reminder, the general overall trade thesis is the same. And this is where, I'm disconnected, or I differ from most analysts out there. Most analysts, not all, but most, are saying that this is going to continue to go up and we're going to moon and blah, blah, blah. I'm actually saying that Bitcoin is targeting 60K, all right? 60K, and our first target to the downside is going to be 100K. Very few people are saying that, okay? And so overall, you're still dealing with a large channel, and to me, Bitcoin at 120K or thereabouts is still within the boundaries, within the confines of this large 250 plus day channel. That's the high time frame read on Bitcoin's price action. Okay, jumping down into the smaller time frames, you can, if you're not biased, if you want, if any sort of objectivity will lead you to the conclusion that there's a high degree of probability, there's a high chance that this right here that you can see on the 4-hourly time frame is a bearish reversal pattern, a head and shoulders, okay? It's a quintessential bearish reversal pattern with a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. And these tend to break down. Do they always break down? No. Obviously, sometimes you get something like this. And you get what we call a fake out. A type of spring, and then a move back up. Do I think that's it? No. I think this is a textbook head and shoulders bearish reversal pattern. And it's, what's really textbook about it is the discrepancy in height between the head and the shoulders. It shows the bearishness. It shows that really this is not some mistaken reaccumulation range, right? Where you can kind of see, boom. Or sorry, it would be like something like this. No, this is very clear. I think it's very clear right here that it's a head and shoulders bearish reversal pattern. Okay, so basically this is your rounded top. This is your extremity. This is your top of the top. As we discussed, very likely, as we discussed in the previous episode, it's very likely that this is the highest you'll go before experiencing a downtrend for Bitcoin that leads eventually to our ultimate target of 60K. On the way to 60K, you're going to hit things like 100K, okay? And whatever else is on the way there in terms of high likelihood support. So, as I see it, for Bitcoin, it's just, this is happening, and at any moment, this can break, and the breakdown takes us to our target of 100K. And that's not a big drawdown, but it's a significant drawdown. It's a 14-15% drawdown from where we're at. Okay? So for those that are bullish on Bitcoin, just look at the chart. Forget what you think about cycles, about what Bitcoin should do, who's buying, all that stuff. Just look at the chart and decide for yourselves. Does this mean the end of the Bitcoin bull market? Again, I'll repeat myself, and we can address this more thoroughly later on, because it's actually not the story. Right now, the story is altcoins. We're going to get to that in a second. But no, it's not the end of Bitcoin's bull market. It's the end of Bitcoin's bear market. It's the beginning of Bitcoin's bull market once we hit our ultimate target around 60K. Okay? And again, I can elaborate on that at some point in the near future. So that's Bitcoin. Altcoins, they're also going to go down. Very likely. They're also going to go down. Besides just people asking me about Ethereum, the king altcoin, saying, hey, look, you said Ethereum was going to go down. It's gone beyond the level you said it was likely to go. I said, I remember telling a client Ethereum might even go to 3,000. I still wouldn't buy it. Okay, it went to like 3,600, but I still wouldn't buy it. We'll talk about Ethereum specifically in a second. But in this retracement, do expect for all altcoins to retrace somewhat. And I think the read here is clear. To me, you're looking at it's bullish, right? By and large, very bullish. But just like anything, you expect retracements after big moves. Remember that this level right here, this dark green channel that you see, it's a 500-day affair. So this represents a 500-day resistance right here. You came into that 500-day resistance, showed strength. That's very important. Okay, so if I'm telling you that altcoins are bullish and altcoins come here, they sniff that 500-day resistance and then just die, that's not bullish. What's bullish is showing signs of strength. One of the signs of strength in technical analysis is when you meet staunch resistance and you show strength at staunch resistance. So again, 500 days worth of resistance, you come into it, you chop, and you wick above it. So even though you're not going to break it on the first go because it's resistance, right? Resistances aren't treated in that way. They don't break on first test. They're tested, retested, they break on the second or third go. So that to me shows the strength, the verve of the assets. Okay, again, we're looking at the total 3, so that's all the altcoins in crypto minus Ethereum, which we're going to get to in a second. But that shows me the strength of altcoins and that it's very likely upon retest, right, the natural retest that you get from a move like this, then that resistance is toast. Okay, so if you look at social media, everybody's really bullish on altcoins, but most people are bullish about them in the wrong way. You should be high time frame bullish about altcoins. You should be very excited about what altcoins are doing, but you shouldn't be buying tops like this. That's sloppy and silly, okay? Because this is clearly a high time frame break of resistance, okay? This is multiple months worth of resistance broken, gone into resistance itself, and this is another resistance. If you can see, look, resistance level right here. That this is a resistance level, that's a resistance level. So you're in resistance. You come back down, retest important broken resistance as support. This is where you expect altcoins to fly from this point right here. So when you look at altcoins, they should also retrace as well as Bitcoin's retracing. So Bitcoin's retracing about 15%. In aggregate, altcoins retrace, according to this total 3, about 19%. Okay? So altcoins should retrace ever so slightly more than Bitcoin. And that is it is consistent with what you should expect in alt season. Remember, alt season, one definition of alt season is Bitcoin goes down, altcoins go down the same or less. Okay, in this case, if Bitcoin goes down 15%, altcoins go down 18-19% in aggregate. That's about the same. That's about the same to me, right? More or less the same. And you don't see that in Bitcoin season. This is another proof. This is another piece of evidence, a strong piece of evidence for alt season. This is what happens in altcoin season. So, yes, I do expect altcoins to retrace, retest this level of resistance of a few months as support before coming back down. And that's 67 days of resistance broken, as you can see right here. 67 days of resistance broken, retested. That's the big move right there, starting right here, right? Big move. And then we should expect 2 very large moves, right? One into the midline, the first rather, into the midline. From here, retest the base of 500-day resistance, now retested as support. Second, top of the channel, retest the midline. Those are the first 2 moves my clients and I are focusing on, like really locked in, because this is what we've been waiting months for. Okay, so that's the total 3. That's the read. That's my read on altcoins in the aggregate, and what I'm expecting in the immediate short term. I'm expecting altcoins to retrace, right? Be bullish, not on tops. Be bullish at support. Don't get super excited just because you see green candles. Just look at the charts. See evidence for resistance or support. Get bullish on support. Be bearish at resistance on the small time frames. But then you have to distinguish your small, medium time frame analysis from your high time frame analysis, and you don't want to mix the two. Saying that you're bullish on altcoins doesn't mean you're buying them here. Saying that you're bearish on altcoins doesn't mean you don't think that they're going to make really big moves here. And people are saying, oh, altcoins made such big moves. You haven't seen anything yet. You haven't seen anything yet. And people who are saying that, it's clear they don't know what they're talking about. They haven't seen how crypto really moves, because big moves don't equate to a 5% day or even a 10% day. That's not a big move in crypto, okay? This isn't the NASDAQ, right? So let's look at, before we get to Ethereum, let's finish our conversation on altcoins and look at Bitcoin dominance. So we just said we're expecting a relatively small but important retracement in altcoins, right? As well as, Bitcoin. So if that's true, and again, remember, Bitcoin is likely to go down 15% to our target of 100K, and altcoins are likely to go down 18-19% in the aggregate to retest that 67-day resistance as support. If that's true, then altcoins should slightly bleed against Bitcoin, slightly, ever so slightly, okay? That basically means you should expect Bitcoin dominance to go up ever so slightly. Look at Bitcoin dominance. Again, on the 4-hourly time frame, you can see Bitcoin dominance has been in a channel, okay? And that channel has gone up and down and up and down since February, okay? So that's a 6-month channel. To break a channel, you can't break it from the top, you can't break it from the bottom, you gotta break it from the midline. So the next likely move for Bitcoin dominance, given that it's right now sitting on the support of this 6 or 7 month channel, the next likely move is a retest of this midline as resistance before the breakdown of the channel. So when we look at the total 3 and we say this small 18-19% move to the downside is going to be the retest that sends the altcoin market into explosive price action. Similarly, when you look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, this small retracement to the midline is going to coincide with that altcoin retracement, giving you that explosive move. Because then, once this channel breaks, you zoom out. The next likely support level for altcoins is all the way down here. Okay? So this is like our read on Bitcoin, our read on the total 3 is consistent with what this Bitcoin dominance chart is telling us. So I like that. So yeah, do expect Bitcoin dominance to rise slightly and hit that midline right there. Okay. Last but not least, let's talk about Ethereum. Okay. Ethereum, the king altcoin, you have really big accounts on social media telling you you missed it and you're stupid for not buying Ethereum and you should buy it now because sooner or later it's going to be at 5,000, 6,000, 10,000, blah, 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 blah. It's going to lead the rally and you haven't seen anything yet. And again, remember, if something goes up 10, 15%, that's not it. Like, it's been a long bear market, so I understand people are desensitized to actual moves, actual bullish price action. But this was a corrective increase, right? It was, let me just zoom out and take it from the top. Ethereum is in a range. Ethereum is in a range, and it's been in a range for 1,000 plus days. Okay, that's a fact. It's not an opinion. You can see I have a teal range here, and that is, let me remove this because this is superfluous at this point. Okay, got a teal range here, and that's Ethereum's price action from the summer of 2022, July of 2022 to be exact, and now we're July of 2025. That's 3 whole years it's been in a range. That should be the beginning of your analysis on Ethereum. Again, throw everything aside, everything you think you know about cycles, everything you think you know about rotation of capital in the crypto space. Just look at what the price action is telling you. Forget the narratives, forget what people are trying to push down your throat. Look at the candles. It's in 1,000+ day range, 3+ years, or three years, almost exactly. You're not doing anything in a range unless and until you're breaking it from the midline. Okay, so that's the first thing you should start with. What's been going on at this range? That's the midline. That's the top resistance. This is the bottom support. You start the range coming down, up, back down, up. I was under the impression that the midline would serve as resistance because in an actual move, and I've said this before on the channel, in an actual move, in an up and out of a range, you do want to show respect for the midline, which is resistance. When you don't, it's almost, in my experience, a telltale sign that you're going to do a swing failure pattern and completely retrace back to the origin of the move that did not respect the midline. This move of Ethereum's that started in March of this year did not respect the midline. You can see there was some consolidation at the midline, a reaccumulation of sorts to give you this move right here. But that's not respect of the midline. Respect of the midline, and you can do this. Don't take my word for it. If you're really serious about this stuff and you care to learn, I recommend backtesting. What does that mean? That means go look at assets that you like, find ranges on the small time frame, high time frame, and test this theory. Look at ranges that are breaking. Before they break, either bullishly or bearishly, what happens at the midline? Are they going to do something like this? Yes, that's exactly what you see on a bullish break of a channel. You see a midline rejection. It doesn't have to be 100% rejection, but there's respect of the resistance of the midline. Then a push through, retest of the midline, push through the channel, retest of the top, and then you're out. Whenever you see a false break of a channel, you tend to see, oh, let's just go through. And then, psych, I'm coming back down. Every single time. I'm telling you, I don't know how many chart hours I have at this point, but it's tens of thousands of hours. This is why when I'm telling my clients, my target for Ethereum is back down here, they look at me incredulously. What are you talking about? Look at where it's at. It's showing so much strength. Look at the volume, blah, blah, blah. No, my target for Ethereum to the downside is all the way the hell down here. I'm not bullish on Ethereum until it gets back down here, because it's a given to me that this right here is one of those. And lastly, but not least, I'll say, what am I seeing here on the smaller time frame? Let's jump down to the 4 hourly. Actually, let's say on the daily. It's fine on the daily. I'm seeing that this entire move right here is a B wave. This is the A wave. This is the B wave. I'm expecting that to be your final move. I see a flat correction. This moves like a B wave. It acts like a B wave. It talks like a B wave. B waves, they get to where they need to be. They don't care about your resistances or your support, because they're not here for a good time or a long time. They're here for a good time. They're doing whatever they need to do, and they're going to retrace anyway. So it doesn't really matter what they do or don't respect. And they tend to just go. Okay, B wave, I got to hit the 786 minimum. Bet. Hit. Now, for the real move, the final capitulative move of this entire corrective pattern. So when I'm looking at this chart and I'm looking at this price action, it is part and parcel of this move right here. This is a flat correction to me. That's how I'm reading it. So I told a few people, a few viewers that commented on the channel that my invalidation for Ethereum going to the upside for my previous Ethereum read was at like 3,490 or something like that, only because to me this had been a respect of the midline, which would yield a rejection and then a move up and out, right? That whole thing was invalidated when we broke the 1618 of this right here. So now, instead of, actually, my original downside target to Ethereum, had it respected it, I would have moved it up, actually. Because I would have said, you know what, we're probably going to do something like this. Because there's no reason to come back down here. Now that we went all the way up here, I'm even more, does that make sense? I'm even more confident in that being my buy level for Ethereum. So that's what I see about Ethereum. I hope that makes sense and it's not too convoluted or arcane. Yeah. Like, share, and subscribe. If you got value, consider buying me a coffee, i.e. tipping me, Venmo, Litecoin, Cash App, all at the pinned comment below. And consider my crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service, where we choose up to 5 assets that are likely to pump in this alt season, right? Sustainably, not some random fart coin, no, actual pump you'll see when it starts. There are many assets that are bullish that are just going to keep printing. And then others, they're going to go up 100, down 105. They're just going to be crazy. So basically, I help clients identify which assets to be in to get sustainable, continuous profits. And then we see the levels where we should buy, where we should sell to maximize our profits in this alt season. All right, take care, everyone. Bye.
My prevalent time slot, I vocalize, too deep to localize, even when I'm right on the surface. You act surprised how I work this, but I can't lie. Many a good alibi. I'll catch you later.
Visions are vividly enhanced with emphasis and amethyst to develop morale advantages which help us manifest magnanimous. We body vitals like evangelists. So listen when you're dealing with people who be revealing premonitions with precision. At least that's what I'm aiming at for now. I speak the language of the world, meandering throughout the crowd. Used to feel safe to say anything, but now it's a risk. It's hard for me to let go when all I can do is reminisce. Gone like the wind, here's where I begin. Should I smile or should I grin what's happening?